Sorry, I had to cut this into two parts. It wouldn't let me upload the first part. So then the next story is called Moors in Tabula. This is a very interesting story. It's about a kid who needs an emergency tracheotomy because he's got diphtheria. And he has a litany of problems. And you hear. Now, a lot of these stories, too, guys, before I continue, are subtitled because, like I said, with all these horror directors, some of them are not English and they put everything out. But it's about a German doctor who does what he can. And again, you have to rewatch this, which I think makes these stories appealing because you're going to find something new every time. Um, Kid has diphtheria and it ends up not going too well. The end of the story, though, the father of this kid ends up thanking the doctor. This was set, I would say around World War One, World War Two, because the doctors actually, you see him walk to the house, and I have never seen that except for in the 1900s, in movies. But it was almost, the ending is almost like the father was thanking the doctor for doing what the parents couldn't do. And I'm going to leave it at that. It's a little morbid in nature. But again, it's probably something that you have to rewatch and figure out the core concept of this short story. And on a side note, the German child is played by El Dora. Now, I wonder, because I wonder if it's any relation to Miriam Dora, the dude that did Cannibal. Or maybe I got that wrong. Maybe the girl did Cannibal. Whoever directed Cannibal, I wonder if this is her son. It's interesting. Maybe you guys can check it out. The next story we're going to dive into is called Sins of the Father. This is a very strange and sort of weird revenge story. The concept is that there's a father and a son locked in a room, and the son paid this corporation to punish his father because his father apparently molested him when he was little, when he was sick. In this story, things go a little bit sideways, and this is the one of the ones that ends on a cliffhanger because you don't know what's going to happen. But atmosphere and just the subject matter, I think, make it pretty good. And it's weird and it's strange, but it does fit this movie. A lot of this movie, too, guys, I'm not going to lie, is that this movie came out with the notion of being too extreme to put out in theaters. So you're going to have a lot of male and female nudity. I mean, that's just the way it is. The subject matter is pretty dark and twisted in this whole thing. And if you're on the fence about that type of thing, then, it's just the way it is, and it's going to get worse from here. This story is very, like I said, very strange, and the father seems to be triggered to repeat his actions by a certain situation, and the company is trying to get him to do that so they can do it. Very, very wicked in nature. As far as violence, this story is pretty tame. It's just the subject matter and the way that it's handled. And I believe the last story on this compilation is called Mana. This is directed by Michael Todd Snyder. This story has probably the most gore, the most sexually driven violence in the whole film. And to be honest, it was probably the very darkest of all the stories. It deals with a person who wants to be eaten alive. And you would think Marion Dora would handle this story because she handled Cannibal. But no, it's directed by, like I said, Todd Schneider. It's about a guy who goes to an S&M bar, and things just happen in this story. I mean, there's no... And he's used basically to be chopped up, fed to these goth girls, and the movie ends on such a dark note. There's a little bit of a post-credit sequence after this story where we see a truck driver get shot, and that story's called Amuse Bouche. I don't know who directed it because it was only a 3-minute or 7-minute deal. He gets shot trying to tow a car, and just bam. But this story is by far the darkest. There's all kinds of gore in here. I mean, it's pretty damn nasty, actually. But it ends the film perfectly because it ends it on a strong note, a strong extreme horror note that, you know, basically puts a cap on this whole thing. So the other interesting thing about this film is it was filmed in 2 places: Edmonton, Canada, and my favorite city in the whole wide world, Pittsburgh, PA. So that was pretty cool, you know, having a claim, because now Pittsburgh can say, hey, we were part of one of the most extreme, you know, anthologies in horror, as well as being the zombie capital of the world. Perfect for Halloween. You know what I'm saying? So, in closing this 2-part video, what do I think of the Profane exhibit? I think that it's probably one of the best horror anthologies. If you like extreme cinema and dark subject matter, you're going to love it. I liked it. Surprised by some of the endings that didn't flesh out, but the core stories are great. You don't mind reading a few subtitles here and there, you know, in different stories. It's pretty good. It's put out by Harbinger Entertainment and conjunction with Unearthed Films. It is also executively produced by my man Stephen Biro. Stephen Biro is, you know, he directed American Guinea Pig, Bouquet of, you know, Guts and Gore. He did, you know, Song of Solomon. He's done a couple of Unearthed films, you know, and Unearthed is his baby, guys. So this film, if you like extreme horror, I think you're going to like this. This is boundary pushing. This is, you know, this is new and crazy. And that last story, guys, was, but they do some nasty shit in here. That story I just mentioned about the werewolves, they actually throw a baby in the fire, man. So, you know, it's a little controversial. It's not for everybody, you know, but I dug it. For what it was, I really enjoyed it. And you could see why it took so long for this film to come out, because probably had to get the rights from the dead directors, or the deceased directors, I should say, and make everybody come together. And this is an amazing piece of film that I think it is. And I'm not saying it's great, but the title says it all. It says there are no boundaries. And honestly, you watch this, no, they're not. So if you like extreme horror, definitely check this out. Get this bad boy. I don't know if you could order this on Prime Digital, but I know Amazon carries it. Unearthed Films carries it. Probably Diabolique Video carries it. Definitely give it a whirl. Check it out. Like I said, I really, really dug it. And I'm just glad that Nicholson's story is on here, because, like I said, before he passed away, I have a DVD copy that he sent me via Dropbox. And at that time, the Profane exhibit was pretty much dead in the water. And Ryan was nice enough to send me his story, which I thought was incredible. And then I thought, how are you going to put all these extreme stories on a DVD and get it passed? And I forgot, you can go the unrated route. So it was very cool to see that story after years, because I've probably had that story on DVD probably 3 or 4 years, maybe 5, before it actually, came on here. So it was refreshing to see it and done right. And it was cool to see Dan Ellis, because I had forgotten how cool that story was, how morbid. So that's my recommendation for today, and that was my rant on, stuff. I just wanted to get it out there. And again, I'm still getting outpours from the tragedy that occurred, on Labor Day. I'm still getting condolences and sympathies. And again, I revert back to you guys and just say, hey, thank you very much, because sometimes you can't get through a situation without the help. And sometimes a terrible situation, when you have a lot of people that are, sympathetic to your dilemma, makes that situation easier to handle. So I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. It's supposed to be rainy from what I hear. And hopefully next week we come at you with some more stuff. Also, if you're into extreme horror, I would like to prop a store that I just recently went to for digital. Or not digital, for a DVD. Go to Sloppy Second Sales, guys, because they have all the guinea pig movies on one Blu-ray. And I'm telling you right now, they are upscaled to 180. You get everything you would in the box set with this. And it's like $12. And if you know anything about the guinea pig movies, if you can't get them, or you go to eBay and you see one for like $130, skip it. Go to Sloppy Second Sales. But if you want to get the eBay one, I'm not telling you not to. But it is worth getting those, because Sloppy Second Sales does one hell of a good job. And Mermaid in the Manhole is a very, very cool story. And like I said, you don't mind reading subtitles. And I know a lot of you guys, the horror fanatics that I talk to, might be want something you want to pick up, because this actually put extreme cinema basically on the map. Before Fred Vogel did it, before Ryan Nicholson, before Stephen Biro and the American Guinea Pig phenomenon, these were the actual Japanese films. And if you watch the second one, it is rumored, and I'm going to address this because I just have to, it is rumored that Charlie Sheen went to the FBI. And it's on, you can Google it up. And it was this whole thing where he thought it was an actual snuff film. When you watch the making of it, this woman who gets dismembered in the second film, she's looking like she's having a ball. But there is another interesting fact, is that the lady that played the mermaid in Mermaid in a Manhole was never seen again. She vanished after that film. But check it out. I really endorse them. And they were fairly quick. I ordered them last week, like on Saturday before last week, and they came yesterday. So these guys know their stuff. So thank you, Sloppy Second Sales. Anyways, check out the Profane exhibit. If you guys like extreme horror, you guys will like this.